Good evening, everyone. I'm NBC10 meteorologist Michelle Rotella, breaking into programming to tell you about a tornado warning that has just popped up across our area, 8 miles south of Middletown. You can see all of that reflectivity showing you the very heavy rain. This is radar indicated at this time, and this is for Newcastle County. So again, this is for southwestern Newcastle County, 8 miles south of Middletown. So in Delaware, we've been following some storms, numerous storms that have been populating across parts of Maryland. Now these cells entering our region. This tornado warning is going until 9 p.m. this evening. If you live within this red line here in this box, we want you to seek shelter immediately. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Go to the most central portion of your home, the lowest portion of your home. If it's not a basement, find an interior closet. I am going to step away so I can go ahead and man this radar and kind of take you through what we've been seeing here over the past few hours that I've been tracking as you guys may have been going about your evening routine and events here. So again, this is a tornado warning that was just issued by the National Weather Service in Mount Holly. And again, this is for southwestern Newcastle County and northern Delaware. This goes until 9 p.m. And at 8:35, there was a severe thunderstorm that was capable of producing some tornadic activity, and that was located over Delaney Corner. It's important to note that radar scans, they can tend to be a few minutes behind. So this is what we have been seeing here. And again, want to zoom out and give you a bigger picture of some of the rainfall that is moving into our region. And this cell in particular, looks like some hail could even be produced with this cell. So let's go ahead and zoom in here so we can get a better idea of what we're seeing. So if I turn on a velocity signature here, this is really going to help to showcase where potentially we are seeing some of this rotation. I'm going to go ahead and move this over here to where they're saying that we are seeing that. And it does look like very weak rotation is what we're seeing at this time. I'm not too impressed with it, but again, it was radar indicated. So also, let me go ahead and go back to the severe watches and warnings so you can see what we've been following here. And let me see if I can turn on the sweeping radar for you here. This is what we're looking at. And also go ahead and I want to turn back on this storm relative mean velocity, which means storm by storm. This is how we can see if there's any rotation. And this is what I want to highlight here. So right near south of Townsend and to the northeast of Dexter Corners, right around Forest, where you see that dot on your screen, that is the weak rotation that the National Weather Service said, hey, and it looks like actually another tornado warning was just issued inside there. So let's go ahead and get the latest on that. Again, it's that small weak rotation that you're seeing here. I'll go ahead and query this. And by query, what I mean is I'm going to go ahead and click on this to get some new information. So this was the new tornado warning that was just put out here. And again, this one goes until 9 p.m. So what they're saying, this was 8 miles south of Middletown, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to our radar so I can put a tracker on this for you and track this out. So this is northeast at 20 miles per hour. And let me go ahead and switch back on from my sweeping radar tool back to what I want to show you here, the reflectivity. So you can see we've been seeing some pretty decent signatures come from some tornado warnings that were produced in Maryland. I have been seeing that throughout the evening hours, and they've had a couple confirmed tornadoes. Again, I'm not seeing the National Weather Service saying that this was a confirmed tornado warning, but they are continuing this tornado warning, and it does remain in effect till 9 p.m. So now they're saying that this thunderstorm was located near Green Spring or near Middletown, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. Looks like the speed for this has kind of slowed down a little bit. So this is a tracker that I kind of want to put on this singular cell here. And okay, let's see, we have this going 20 miles per hour. So I would say, again, Blackbird, which is right where we identified some of that rotation, and right at 8:53. And remember that radar scans, they can run like 3 to 5 minutes behind. So, you know, I would just say take the time that you see and subtract a couple of minutes. You're looking at 9:10 for Collins Beach, and then Lower Alloways Creek, 9:25 p.m. So you want to get into your safe space. If you are within this red box, you need to seek shelter immediately. Go to the lowest portion of your home. Put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You know, we knew that we would have the threat for some gusty thunderstorms as we would go on through the evening hours. We knew that they would pack a little bit of a punch when it comes to there being a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, and that we would potentially see some very heavy rainfall, which we are seeing. In fact, I can go ahead and let me see if I can query once again, and that means just I'm going to take a measurement. Look at the rainfall rates that are coming down right where we're seeing this tornado warning. So this is almost 2 inches per hour. That is a lot of rain coming down in a short amount of time. If I zoom out from this tornado warning area, you can see a flash flood warning that's going on across places like Edgewood, Maryland, Eastern Maryland. That stretches up into those areas. They have been just seeing these thunderstorms moving very slowly across the region. And again, so much moisture in the atmosphere, a lot of rainfall. So with that being said, they have been getting some flash flood warnings in return for just seeing these slow moving storms. We have the potential to see some localized flooding with some of these storms. I want to take you in closer so we can get some towns in here. So Chambersville, you are within those red lines. Woodland Beach, you're just outside of the area. You probably can, hear some thunder. In fact, let me turn on the lightning signature so you can get an idea of some lightning that is going on across the area with this cell in particular. So it does look like we're seeing some returns of some cloud to ground lightning. So the storm is definitely passing through north of Collins Beach. You can see the very heavy rainfall. Odessa, you're outside of that tornado warned area. So I want to take you in again. Let's take a check of the velocity signature that we've been seeing here. Earlier I was looking at some of the signatures that were going on with some of the tornadoes there in Maryland. So let me go ahead and kind of save this setting so we can get back to what's going on here. And again, this is the weak rotation that they're talking about. You can see when you have rotation, now it's moving east of Blackbird at this time. When you have rotation showing you a little bit of green, those are returns going toward the radar, and the red is just some returns that are going away from the radar. And so that just gives us an idea that there is some sort of rotation going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere. We're seeing that rotation, again, enough to have this triggered. I know it doesn't look like much probably on your screen, but it was enough to have a lot of this just be populated here and have this tornado warning go off. So this is the setup that we're seeing. You can see we don't have much for our area. We are just seeing some general steady to moderate rain that is moving across Interstate 295, but these storms have been really starting to fire up around I-95, and there's just this lone cell in particular that is across Newcastle County that we will continue to follow here as we do go on. So I'm going to go ahead and check our National Weather Service chat so I can see what they are saying. And again, the latest that I have from them is that we were seeing at 8:52, they were continuing this tornado warning, and basically that this was the severe thunderstorm warning that was capable of producing a tornado. Again, radar indicated. We're not saying that there is a confirmed tornado, but radar indicated from that rotation that I was telling you about, and that was located near Green Spring or near Middletown, moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. So they were saying the locations that were impacted were places like Chambersville. So I know, Fred, you're here with me now. I'm going to go ahead and toss it to you. I know you might have some information for our viewers. Yeah, just thank you, Michelle. Just want to remind people what you need to know if you are in the area of a possible tornado. And there is a difference between a watch and a warning. Here's what you need to do if a tornado warning is issued in your area. If you are home, you need to head to the basement and stay away from high levels of your house. If you don't have a basement, take shelter in a small inside room. You can see there in this graphic that we have, it would be in the center of your home, such as a closet or a bathroom. Make sure that you stay away from outside walls, windows, and doors. Now, here's what to do in case you have a tornado warning. You can go to a central room or basement. If you are in a high-rise building, you can go to a bathroom. And again, you want to stay away from windows and cover your head. Here's the difference that we were talking about between a tornado watch versus a warning. A watch means that a tornado is possible. You could check forecast updates if you hear of a watch. You can monitor the sky conditions and know where to take shelter. Prepare yourself. A warning means that you should take immediate action. It means a tornado is imminent. Michelle? Okay, thanks, Fred, for going over that. It's always good to go over the difference between watches and warnings. Watches, like you said, meaning conditions are favorable for this activity, and of course, a warning meaning that this is imminent, this is happening, and we want you to seek shelter immediately. So I'm just getting word now, and it does look like the National Weather Service is saying at this time that they are going to expire this tornado warning. So with that, what I want to do is just, briefly, I know the red box is still in play here, but I'm getting confirmed chat saying that National Weather Service is going to expire this at 9 p.m., which if we're not at 9 p.m., I believe we're just a minute. It's 9. All right, so it is 9 p.m. now, so I'm getting confirmation. So again, we are still seeing this red box here, but they are going to expire this any minute now. So with that being said, thank you for listening to us. Just stay weather aware for the rest of this evening as we'll continue to follow and the active warnings that are ongoing just to the southwest of us.
NBC10 breaking news.
Good evening, everyone. I'm meteorologist Michelle Rotella coming on air once again to tell you about another tornado warning that has been issued for parts of our area. We already saw one for Newcastle County. Now we're following another cell. At this time, it looks like the center of that rotation still across parts of eastern Maryland. You can see it there just to the southeast of Edgewood. You can see some of that mesoscale rotation. That's what we're seeing right now. That red box identifies where that tornado warning is, and that is moving east at 30 miles per hour, which is a little faster than the last tornado warning that we were watching. So I'm going to step off so I can track this cell for you and walk us through what we are seeing by the National Weather Service. This was just issued a few moments ago, so we did come on air as soon as possible to alert you about this tornado warning. So again, this is a new one, and this is for northern Kent County. That was for northeastern Maryland, but it is tracking east, and it does look like it's moving pretty quickly at 30 miles per hour. So this will continue to track its way, once again, toward, it looks like, Newcastle County at this time. And we can see once again that there is just radar indicated rotation with this. Again, this is just outside of our area, but you can see the track of this is again heading in an eastward direction. So I do want to go ahead and quickly just see if I can turn on this velocity signature for you at this time. So let me see if I can switch to our storm relative mean velocity signature, and then you can see that this rotation here, it's still in Cecil County at this time, but it is tracking east. So this is one that we will continue to watch, as we said, right outside of Delaware at this time. You can see that rotation. This actually looks a little bit more identifiable, a little bit better than what we were seeing just an hour or so ago for the last tornado warning that we did have. So again, this is the rotation. When you have the greens and the reds, it shows you that the green is moving toward the radar site, the red is moving away. So we're getting this movement of air in this rotation. And so this is, again, tracking east a little bit faster than the last one. So just a heads up here, and I'll go ahead and I will put on this tracker for this cell in particular and put this at about, let's see, what we say, that 30 miles per hour. So it looks like places like Middletown, this is like in Newcastle County, that would be around 10:32. So this is a good lead time. This is a good heads up to see that this cell is tracking into your direction. This is the time to think about where your safe place is, so you can get into that safe place. If you know anyone neighboring, I mean, these storms have been firing up in Maryland all evening long, and they've been tracking right along the I-95 corridor. Now some of them starting to work their way a little bit more toward the east. So this, is again one of the cells that we've been watching here. So this is for northern Kent County, northeastern Maryland. However, it is tracking east at 30 miles per hour. And this was just radar indicated from this severe thunderstorm that was capable of producing a tornado that was located near Newtown. So that was about 10 miles southwest of Aberdeen. And again, as we watch it move east at 30 miles per hour, some locations that may need to just be watched are Newtown. It looks like Macy as well, Sassafras and Kennedyville are some of those locations. So we'll continue to watch it. You can see how that rotation is right along that cell that I just identified there and I just tracked out. I'll go ahead and show you the larger picture of what we have been following as we've gone on pretty much throughout this entire evening. We've been watching these lines of showers and storms now finally moving into our area. You can see the very heavy rainfall that is associated with them as well. So this is the one cell in particular. In the wake of that, back behind it, you can see places like Edgewood, Maryland have flash flood warnings. These are slow moving cells, some of them, and they've also been big rain producers. And we're right on the fringe here. So again, Middletown, Delaware, I would just say, heads up to you. This tornado warning is just to the west of you at this time, and it is headed east into that direction. So again, this is one that we'll see if it continues to stretch its way on over, but there was enough rotation that was identified for them to go ahead and trigger this. But at this time, it's been radar indicated. But some of the tornadoes that we have been seeing and talking about tonight have not just been radar indicated. We've actually had video footage, and also we've seen some damage by some of the tornadoes that have been produced with some of the warm front that's just been lifting across the area that we told you we would see. And I want to go ahead and let's see if I can go down and get this. So again, this is a tornado warning. The counties, including Kent County, and this is now on the border here. It's Kent County, Maryland that does include, but this will most likely extend right on over, and it will extend over into Newcastle County. So again, heads up to places like Middletown, Delaware. Heads up for you. It looks like Cecilton, seeing some very heavy rainfall at this time. And it looks like this is going to continue until 10:15 p.m. I want to see if I can go ahead and query, which is just, again, one of the tools that we have here on our systems to go ahead and give us a measurement or a reading of such, to give us some information on the system. So that's telling me the tornado warning, but some of the rain rates in this have been pretty impressive. That one just to the north of Middletown showing you just under ½ an inch per hour, so some decent rain. With that, we'll go ahead and we'll zoom in here where we're seeing the reflectivity really coming down. And again, this cell in particular looks like it's going to continue to work its way east. And 30 miles per hour is a decent speed. You can see the radar just updated. Thing to remember with radar scans is that usually the scans go every 5 minutes. So just keep that in mind when we give you some lead time. I would subtract a few minutes from that. And I also wanted to point out one of the other things that I've been finding for this evening is that the severe weather outlook for us has shifted a little bit for the overnight hours. So the National Weather Service has now put us in a marginal risk. So we could have some gusty thunderstorms pop up. We've already seen a few. We had one tornado warning earlier across Newcastle County. And again, this new tornado warning that was just issued by the National Weather Service in Mount Holly. And that is, again, them saying that this is for northern Kent County in northwestern Maryland, and that eventually it's moving east east at 30 miles per hour and going to be tracking into our area. So this is some of the tools that we have here. I showed you the reflectivity with the very heavy rainfall that we can see. I'm going to go ahead and load another one. You can see this tornado warning. It looks to the north of Massey. You can really see, or Massey is that, you can really see some very heavy rainfall. Cecilton, right in the heart of that. And if I go ahead and I turn on our velocity tool, this could give me a better idea of what's going on here with that rotation. So this, it looks like just to the west of Cecilton, there's some rotation that is ongoing here. So what I'm going to do is, first, I want to go ahead and I want to circle this rotation so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. When you get those reds and those greens together, that just identifies that we are seeing some rotation in the atmosphere from the cell. You can see how it just kind of, that framed move to the east a little bit, so it's tracking east at this time. And I'll go ahead and track this out so we can kind of get a better view of what's going on here. So this would actually move into Newcastle County. So northern Delaware is what we would see. So again, this is moving into our region here, and Middletown, I would say heads up for you right around 10:32 is when you would potentially see this tornado warning move across your area. Nonetheless, if you are within these if you are within this red box, we want you to seek shelter. We want you to know now where your safe place would be were there to be a tornado move across your area. So think about that. You want to get to the lowest portion of your home and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and kind of get resituated here. And Fred, if you're available, let's go ahead and identify some differences and some things that our viewers, some information that our viewers could know.
That's right. So as we track this tornado warning out of Kent County, Delaware, here's a look at what you should do if a tornado warning is issued in your area. If you are home, you are supposed to head to the basement and stay away from higher levels of your house. If you have no basement, take shelter in a small inside room, preferably in the center of your home, such as a closet or a bathroom. Make sure you stay away from the walls, windows, doors, anything with glass. Here's what to do in case of a tornado warning. You go to a central room or basement. If you're in a high-rise building, then you should go to a bathroom. Again, stay away from windows and cover your head. Here's the difference between a tornado watch versus a warning. Michelle and I were just talking about this offline. A watch means a tornado is possible. That means that you could check for your forecast updates. You should monitor the sky conditions and know where to take shelter. You should always have a plan. And a warning means that you should take action, immediate action for a tornado that is imminent. Take shelter now. Seek further information and be sure to check forecast updates. I'm going to check in now with Michelle to see what you've uncovered over there.
Yeah, so Fred, always good to know. Again, we have now been put under a marginal risk for severe weather for the overnight hours, so we will just continue to monitor the situation. Again, this is the cell that we have been watching here. It's a pretty decent cell. There is some rotation with this cell that is tracking east at 30 miles per hour. So this is in Kent County, Maryland. This is stretching right on over into Newcastle County, Middletown. I believe we were estimating around like 10:32 for you. So as of now, we're going to bring you back to your regularly scheduled programming, but we do want you to stay weather aware as we go on throughout the next several hours and we continue to track the rounds of showers and storms that are going to be passing across our area. Of course, we'll bring you the very latest and the updates as they come.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Fred Shropshire.
I'm Jacqueline London.
We're taking a live look now at King of Prussia. Rain coming down pretty hard there. The rain expected to linger into tomorrow, possibly causing wet morning commute. First Alert meteorologist Michelle Rotella joining us now with a warning here locally in our viewing area.
Yeah, just in by the National Weather Service that we now have a tornado warning for Newcastle County, Delaware. So this is the same system that we were focusing in on. That was Kent County, Maryland, that we told you about. That was Kent County, Maryland, but it was tracking east as we suspected. And eventually that cell has now been tracking its way, crossing over into Delaware. And that's why they extended this warning area for Newcastle County. So Middletown, we gave you a definite heads up that we would be seeing this storm enter your area. We've been getting a lot of rotation signals. I've been seeing this. I want to take you in for a closer look at what I'm seeing. And I just queried this, which means we just wanted to identify what's going on in this picture. So again, this was just issued by the National Weather Service. This goes until 11:30 p.m. This is for Newcastle County. I'm not getting any identifiable size for hail at this time, but what I do want to show you is our velocity signature. And this is always a great indication of when we can detect a rotation going toward a radar site and away from a radar site. So when you look for that rotation going toward the radar site, you get that green, right? And then you also see it going away. That's the bright red. The brighter this couplet is, the stronger the rotation is. And I've been watching the signature that has been passing its way from Kent County, Maryland, crossing on over here. And it's just been steady with this radar signature here, really showing us that we are seeing some of this rotation. So I'm going to step away so I can go ahead and kind of break down what we've been seeing here. But this is the same cell that I said that we were watching. It was tracking its way to the east and it was moving pretty decently at 30 miles per hour is what we were seeing. So let me go ahead and give you some of this information. Again, this is the tornado warning for Newcastle County in northern Delaware going until 11:30. And it was located near, let me see if I can say this right, Bohemias Mills or near Middletown, moving east. This cell is now moving east at 20 miles per hour. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to our tornado warning box area so I can show you what's going on, and I'll remove that signature so you can see the box clearly. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and pinpoint this cell for you and then draw out with the storm cone what we're expecting. So we said it was tracking east at 20 miles per hour. Let's go ahead and drag this east here so we can tell you where we are looking at for some of the cities and places that need to be on alert here. So we said Bohemias Mills, forgive me if I'm saying that wrong, that's 11:05 here, so really in the next few minutes. And 11:14 for Armstrong, Odessa, 11:20, Port Penn, 11:33, and Elsinboro is 11:44 for you. And always remember that our radar scans, every radar scan is about 5 minutes delayed. You get those scans every 5 minutes to give you an updated refresh of what's going on, of that reflectivity. So I would even subtract a few minutes by these times. So if you're inside this red box, you need to seek shelter immediately. You need to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. You know, get to the lowest portion of your home. If you don't have a basement, that's okay. Maybe find an interior bathroom, something away from those windows. And again, at this time, I am just seeing, I want to just double check that the source is just radar indicated at this point. But we will see, if eventually they do have that confirmation, because again, we have been following this radar signature for a while, but that just means, it could just be confirmed by radar indication as well. So we'll see what the National Weather Service says. At this time, it's not a confirmed tornado, but we are detecting that rotation. So again, as they said, we've been following these storms for the past several hours across parts of Maryland, eastern Maryland, and this is the cluster of storms that is now progressing into our area. You can see the heavy rainfall with this, and we also had a marginal risk for severe weather that was issued for our region as well. And then on top of that, I do want to say you saw all that reflectivity showing you those yellows and those oranges. Look at the excessive rainfall forecast for tonight. Berks County, you're in that upper Bucks. You are in that Chester as well, and then part of Newcastle County. You're under that level 2 out of 4 for this excessive rainfall, meaning that we could see very heavy rain coming down, some very fast rain rates. You're looking at like maybe 1 to 2 inches per hour, and that could produce some localized flooding. And what we've been seeing here, if I can go back to our severe storm warnings, you will see that basically we've been seeing a lot of flash flood warnings in the wake of these storms. And so that has basically been across parts of Maryland, like Edgewood, Maryland, stretching on over into eastern Maryland as well. There was a tornado warning just south of East Nottingham. It looks like they let that one go and expire, and that was for Cecil County, and it was almost crossing the border there and passing into Pennsylvania, but it does look like they dropped that. But this cell in particular that we are following here, you are getting detections of very, very heavy rainfall around Summit Bridge, and that looks like Graham's Crest as well, and Graylag, Middletown. Again, this is just to the north of you, so this is now leaving eastern Maryland, making its way over into Newcastle County at this time, and this is the cell that we have really been following. So I'm going to go ahead and again advance this and turn on our velocity signature to show you that this cell in particular it looks like a lot of it is still at this time in Chesapeake City, Maryland, which is Cecil County, and then it will cross right on over into, let me see if I can zoom in here, Newcastle County. So Goose Point, heads up for you. You are probably experiencing some of those stronger gusty winds at this time. You need to find your safe space. Again, the most interior portion of your home, and you can see those bright reds as well on the other side of this, the winds going away from that radar site. So McDonough, that's for you. And even looking like Summit Bridge, Mount Pleasant, you're seeing a lot of that rotation move across your area. So I'm going to go ahead and toss it to Fred or Jackie because you guys have some information for our viewers as well. That's right, Michelle. Yeah, we want to keep viewers as safe as we possibly can. There's something you need to know if you are in the area of a possible tornado. Here's a look at what you should do if a tornado warning is issued in your area. If you're at home, head to the basement. Stay away from higher levels of your home. If you don't have a basement, take shelter in a small area inside of a room that's in the center of your home, such as a closet or a bathroom. And make sure to stay away from outside walls, windows, and doors.
Now, in case of a tornado warning, you are advised to go to that central room if you have it in the home or a basement. If you happen to be in a high-rise building, And there are many in Center City, of course. You're advised to go to a bathroom, stay away from windows, and cover your head.
And we're always talking about a watch or a warning, and there is a difference between a tornado watch versus a warning. A watch means that a tornado is possible. It means that you have the ingredients to make a tornado, but you don't quite have a tornado. So if you have a warning, you could check the forecast updates as you're doing right now. Be sure to stick with us as Michelle tracks this. You can monitor the conditions, know where to take shelter. It's always a good idea to have a plan in place before any weather event. A warning means that you take action immediately. It means that a tornado is imminent. You take shelter now, seek further information, and of course you can track the forecast with Michelle. Michelle?
All right, so we're taking this live picture right now. Let me see. So we're showing the radar signature right now. This is the current tornado warning. And I did put on some of our storm tracks here. So it does look like maybe there's some hail that is associated with this cell in particular. And again, this is the tornado warning for Newcastle County. Looks like southern Newcastle County, or that we're seeing, or maybe it's central Newcastle County that we're seeing here until 11:30. So again, this tornado, this thunderstorm that was capable of producing a tornado was located over Bohemius Mills or near Middletown, and it's moving east at 20 miles per hour. And this is just radar indicated, but we want to take it seriously. We want to take it as if there is an actual confirmation of a tornado. So again, if you find yourselves inside this red box here, or even I would say to the east of this, you really want to seek shelter or know where your safe place is. You could have some flying debris around, even with these gusty winds as well, that could cause some damage to, roofs and windows and vehicles, things like that, especially also if there's hail being associated with this. So it looks like some locations to be impacted did include Middletown, Delaware City, St. George's, Port Penn, Mount Pleasant, and Odessa. So this is just a tornado warning that we have been really following here. And this has been kind of sitting out in eastern Maryland for quite some time. Since I feel like before 10 p.m., we were watching this cell in particular across eastern Maryland. And let me go ahead and see if I can turn from the sweeping radar on back to our storm relative mean velocity. And that is just, again, how we can detect rotation with each individualized storm. And so you can see that this is what the National Weather Service is seeing. I mean, they are basically seeing that there is rotation. And look how even more tightly compacted this is. Do you kind of see this swirl that is ongoing that really shows you, again, let me draw this out for you, winds going away from the radar site. You have that there, and then you have the greens where you have it, the winds going toward the radar site. So you get that counterclockwise spin as you would get with an area of low pressure, this individual cell. And with that spin, and we are detecting a lot of low level shear in the atmosphere. We have a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, meaning you have all of these things that are favorable to come together to produce some of these warnings and these tornado warnings to be issued. So that is why this has been issued across the area. So this actually looks even more impressive to me than what we were seeing when we came on the air. So I'm going to zoom in here just to give you more of a street level view. Churchtown Road, that you just saw the latest scan there, pressing its way to the east, and this is moving east at 20 miles per hour. Please find your safe place. Go there now. Another thing people don't remember is that, if this is a confirmed tornado, or regardless if it's not, grab your shoes, right? You kick off your shoes when you come home from a long day of work, but you need to find your shoes and go to your safe place, because if there is debris, or if this is a tornado that is going to move through and it can cause some damage, usually you're going to find some glass around or some damage to windows, and you want to be able to have your shoes with you. So, those are things that maybe you might not think about, but I'm here to remind that for you as well. Again, if you're in the Gams Crest or Port Penn or Graylag or Odessa or Armstrong or Mount Pleasant or Summit Bridge, you need to find that safe place. You can even turn the volume all the way up on your TV and get there so you can listen to us, because we'll be with you to tell you when this has expired. Or if you have your mobile phone, you can keep us here on NBC10. And of course, we're going to keep you updated. You can live stream this as we give you the latest details with what is going on. So that rotation at this time is moving across Churchtown Road. And it looks like that tightly compacted rotation is moving toward Mount Pleasant at this time. Armstrong, that also does include you as well. I think I just saw like Cedar Lane Road is what I saw. Yeah, Cedar Lane Road. So that is where we're seeing, again, if this is a tornado or wherever what this rotation is moving across your region. And the latest with that is still that it is tracking east at 20 miles per hour. So at 10:57, right before we were coming on air here for our 11 p.m. news for NBC10, we were going to be tracking these tornado warnings. I was going to let you know about them, but at 10:57, they issued this tornado warning because of this severe thunderstorm that was capable of producing some tornadic activity. So, this is what we're going to do. We're going to continue to track this, and I'll go ahead and put another cone on here and kind of track this out. And we'll put this based on the speed, since they said 20 miles per hour. We have tools here and where we can track this out and give you a better idea of where this is going. So McDonough, that is for you. Port Penn, Elsinboro, that's for you as well. Hagerville, 11:53. If this stays compacted for that long of a time, again, this tornado warning only goes till 11:30, but I've seen this cell in particular staying pretty well defined and compacted for, I want to say, like 45 minutes to an hour, watching it closely in Kent County, Maryland, and having a feeling that this was going to stretch its way on over into our neck of the woods here into Newcastle County. So, these are things that we're monitoring for you. I'm going to go ahead and kind of zoom out and then clear all my tools so we can start back fresh. Also want to turn back on, let me see if I can find it here, my sweeping radar, so I can get to you and show you the reflectivity, which is going to show us how heavy the rainfall is here. So this is the heavy rainfall. For just a second, I'm going to turn the tornado warning off because I want to be able to query this rainfall here across some parts of the area. And what I'm finding is, look at the rainfall rates, almost 2 inches per hour. So this is what we mean when we say we can have some localized flooding across parts of the area. You could get like localized flash flooding because this is rain that is coming down in buckets, very heavy right now. So hopefully you're not going to find yourself outside or going outside. Just, I would stay indoors, like we said, and, don't need to go outside or take pictures or anything like that. You just really want to stay in your safe space at this time until we can get some further confirmation from the National Weather Service, basically, that this has expired. But what I've been seeing now, and a good way to also determine is if this is still like a pretty active cell, is looking at the lightning signatures. And that looks like a lot of fresh lightning to me. You can tell the differences between the lightning strikes by the ones that are faded out. They kind of dissipate after like 3 minutes or so, and then those bolts flash and you see the whiter strikes of lightning. It's very active right now. You just saw the bolt there on your screen just to the northwest of Old State Road, showing you that this is still a very active cell that we are watching. This is still right around Churchtown Road. And that's moving east right through Port Penn Road and Delaware City. I see you up there as well. You are also included in this watch area. So, again, even if you're right outside this watch box, we have to continue to watch this to see if this maintains its characteristics and maintains rotation. So I'll be watching this with you. I'm going to turn back on the sweeping radar so I can maybe switch this out. And also, let's go ahead and let me see if I can turn on this correlation coefficient. I don't see, which is what we can use to kind of see like if there's any debris. You want to look for maybe something that's a little bit different with a signature that kind of like pops out at you. I'm not really seeing that right now, so that's some good news there, except for just some normal returns of probably some heavy rainfall that's occurring at this time. But I'm going to go back to the storm velocity signatures so we can see where this rotation is. It doesn't look as compacted as it was, but it still looks present at this time. New from the National Weather Service, they are saying that they are going to continue to stick with this tornado warning until 11:30, and it's now for west central Newcastle County. So, we are still seeing, and that's where you're still kind of seeing some of that rotation, those greens and reds mixing together. And so that is the thunderstorm that we are talking about that is still radar indicated. That's what they're saying at this time. But it was located over Mount Pleasant, which is exactly where we were saying, we were seeing some there it is. I mean, you can see it on your screen. You're seeing some of that rotation at this time, some of that heavy rainfall and some of those stronger wind gusts. So it's right over Mount Pleasant. And this is still moving east at 20 miles per hour. So they're still including locations like Middletown, Delaware City, as we mentioned, St. George's, Port Penn, you're included in that, Mount Pleasant, and Odessa at this time. And like we said, with this, you are getting some of those gusty winds that are coming down. You're getting some very heavy rainfall. And even if you were to try to go out and see this right now, you wouldn't be able to because, one, it's dark, and two, if it's very heavy rain, it could be a rain wrap rotation. So that's why we just urge you, you don't really know what's going on out there, but we're here to tell you what we're seeing here, using all the tools that we can to stay inside and find your safe place. I'm going to zoom out so we can get a better picture here, and let me go ahead and turn back on our sweeping radar so we can get a look at the reflectivity. And another thing that I also want to turn on here are our local storm reports, because we have been getting reports, as we mentioned at the top of the show. I mean, this is not new for this, time of night. We've been seeing a lot of tornadic activity, especially across places like our neighboring state here in Maryland. Look at all the tornado reports that you are finding from Westminster, and you are finding just to the southwest of Cockeysville, down across Montgomery County, Maryland, and Poolesville, Maryland. They saw a tornado as well that caused some damage. And then you can kind of see the track of this one cell in particular that was working its way right up I-95. And we were watching it this entire time, working its way up 95. There was also a cell that was into northern Cecil County that almost moved in near East Nottingham, but it looks like they had dropped that warning while we came on air. But the one cell that stayed and that we are staying with you on is going to be this one in particular that went from Kent County, Maryland, and stretched on over into Newcastle County, Delaware. So let me just check and see if the National Weather Service has come in with any new information, and I'm going to go ahead and toss it back to Fred and Jackie at this time.
Michelle, thank you. Michelle, thank you. This is a time when it's really important to take heed to these warnings. There are some things you should know if you are in the area of a possible tornado.
Yeah, so we're talking about warnings if they're issued in your area. Here's a picture, here's a diagram of a home. So you can see that you are supposed to be in the lower levels. You want to stay away from the upper levels of a home. If you have a basement, that's going to be the safest place for you to go to take shelter in an interior room, perhaps a closet in the center of your home. Make sure that you stay away from any of the exterior walls. Those would be walls that have windows or glass.
And in case of that tornado warning, you're advised to go to a central room or go to a basement. Those are always the safest places. If you happen to be in a high-rise building, go to a bathroom, stay away from windows, and always cover your head.
And we're always talking about the differences between a tornado watch versus a warning. I think the analogy that I like to think of in my head is like, a cake versus the ingredients for a cake. So you have the ingredients for a storm. It is a watch. That means that a tornado is possible. You should check your forecast. You should monitor the sky conditions, know exactly what your plan is. A warning is like when you have all of the ingredients come together to make a cake. So you're actually seeing the product with all of those ingredients. So that means you need to take action immediately. A tornado is imminent. So you can seek further information, keeping in touch with us, tracking this forecast. Michelle?
We actually have a live look at Blue Rock. We're going to take a look at that. You can see just how dark the skies are, and hopefully people have kept their phones charged. We have been watching these storms as it was moving. We've been watching them over the last couple of hours. So if you do have to go to your basement and if you have to leave your television, make sure you take your mobile device with you, have it charged, and you can, of course, listen to NBC10 streaming that way. Michelle.
All right, so I want to go ahead and, for those maybe viewers just tuning in saying, what's going on, maybe you hear some of that thunder, or hear the thunder, you see the lightning flashes out there. I'm going to turn on the lightning signatures so you can see so much lightning associated with the cell in particular that's moving across Newcastle County at this time. And actually, there was just some early detection rotation for that one cell that I was talking to about that was particularly right here into northern Cecil County. This was around like Calvert and Fair Hill, and this was almost stretching on over into the PA border, just to the south of East Nottingham, but looks like they just dropped that rotation as well. So again, that was a tornado warned storm. It is not, but then there was some detection, and this is a setup that we are going to see as some of these storms that packed quite a punch across Maryland. They are moving into an environment that is not as favorable for tornadic development. However, they still have some pretty strong characteristics that they are holding on to. And that is why we are still seeing these tornado warnings being issued across the region. And you can still see these fresh lightning strikes that are popping up across the area. And that arrow that you see, that's that early detection that we're getting. So that just tells me, okay, this is yellow. This is rotation. This is radar indicated. I'm not getting, I'm not seeing red and actual confirmation that, hey, there is a tornado, an actually confirmed tornado that is moving. But I am going to turn back on the storm relative mean velocity, and then I'll turn off these lightning bolts so we can see kind of what's going on here. And you see how you can see that rotation right over where there's areas of green. And just so you can better see that, I'll turn it off. And what I'm seeing is, remember I said you want a couplet. You want an area of bright greens and bright reds to kind of swirl and come together. I see spots of it, but it's lost its kind of compactness, right? It's not looking as well defined. So there does look like there's weak rotation now, but it's not the kind of couplets that, would say, okay, this is definitely a tornado that we are going to need to be monitoring. But of course, we want to take it seriously because this is a tornado warning. So we always tell you, again, as we've been saying, please seek shelter immediately. It does look like they have maybe, when they continued this, they kind of chopped off the west side of it. So Churchtown Road, how it was moving across your area. And I could see this even kind of being cut off a little bit more from Middletown soon here eventually. Maybe, they let it go. Maybe they just let it expire at 11:30. But this is going to continue to track its way to the east. So we'll go ahead and we'll track it. Hard to define when we don't necessarily have an exact center of rotation, but from this area alone, tracking to the east at 20 miles per hour, places like Thorntown and Port Penn. And again, but these arrival times for you are after 11:30. This is after this expires, but something tells me, we'll see if they keep this, but with this not looking as well defined, they might just let it drop as we get to 11:30. So I'm not seeing any more updates from them at this time. But again, these were some pretty decent cells that were moving across the area. So I'm going to go ahead and turn back on sweeping radar so we can see some of the very heavy rainfall across the area. So it is just coming down in buckets right now across Port Penn Road. McDonald, we're seeing that. And you're seeing that around like Route 1, 13, and then stretching into Port Penn, where we have detected some of that weak rotation. It's past Mount Pleasant at this point. It's across Cedar Lane Road where you're getting some very heavy rainfall and some of that rotation. But again, the rotation is very spread out at this time. Elsinboro, you're not in that warning area, but you're right outside it. And of course, I can see that you're experiencing some very heavy rainfall and probably seeing some lightning and hearing some thunder because this is moving east and it is heading into your direction. So you need to think about, well, if this tornado warning gets extended and it's in my area, where am I going to go? Those are things that you really need to think about in advance. Everyone should know where their safe place is going to be. I want to see if maybe I can get some rainfall rates because this is just look at this rainfall rate, 2.5 inches per hour. That is extremely heavy rainfall, and actually that's exactly why, if I go to my next graphic here, you look at the excessive rainfall forecast for tonight, and we have a level 1 out of 4 for parts of Delaware, and that extends over into South Jersey, Philadelphia. You're included in that, and you also have a upgraded level 2 out of 4 for places like Berks County, Montgomery County, Chester County, and northern Newcastle County. And obviously, you can see see mostly all of Maryland included in that. And that's where you could get some of that localized flash flooding to take place, because we know dew points were pretty high today. We had just a lot of moisture in the atmosphere. There was a lot of ingredients, and conditions were favorable. And actually, we were not in this marginal risk for severe weather earlier today. DC was, Baltimore was, but throughout the evening hours, this started to work its way east, and they extended this marginal risk, this level 1 out of 5 for severe weather, into our area. And that's exactly why we're seeing some of this weather that we're seeing right now. So let's even, take it a step further, and let's bring you into what we can expect around 11:30. We know that we're experiencing some of this heavy rainfall, but as we go on to 12 a.m., you can see it's still pretty heavy, and it is still going to be over Philadelphia at this time. Of course, it does look like it lets up across parts of southern and central Delaware, but look at those deep reds right over Berks County, even extending into Bucks County, Doylestown. You're seeing that up toward Allentown and then across Montgomery County. And that's where we had that level 2 out of 4, that slight risk for excessive rainfall, and why we're kind of concerned that we could have some localized flash flooding. And then on top of that, I have to remind you that we do have a coastal flood advisory that is already in play until 5 a.m. in the morning. So along with that and high tide times, we were already expecting to see some of that minor flooding. And then you add all this rain falling pretty fast right on top of that, and that could create some issues for their morning commute. You could be dealing with that as we go on here. And look, we actually have a new, so let me just get my bearings here. So let's see, the National Weather Service has just issued a tornado warning for Newcastle County, and now stretching on over into Salem County, New Jersey at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my radar. So it looks like they are extending this on over here. They've detected at least enough rotation with this cell to want to continue to stretch this on over into part of Salem County at this time. And so I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to kind of zoom out here so you can see the boxes. If you are within these red lines, if you are within this red box, please find the lowest portion of your home, the most interior portion of your home. Seek shelter immediately. Looks like we're getting some hail reports with this. I'm going to go ahead and query this, which again is just another way of saying we're going to go ahead and try to find some information for you on what they want to say to us. And so this is going to go until 12 a.m. for Newcastle County, for Salem County. This was just issued by the National Weather Service. And so this is central Newcastle County, northern Delaware and southwestern Salem County. And again, this is southern New Jersey. So they were saying that this severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado was located near Mount Pleasant, which we knew, and this was now moving east at 15 miles per hour. I don't really like that this has slowed down in speed, because with the heavy rainfall, this is just going to potentially lead to some flash flooding issues, which is what we were just talking about with that excessive rainfall. So it's not something that you want to see with the cell. You want this to get out of your area. You want this to move pretty fast, and it's not. And so that's a little concerning, because then you have to deal with the flooding across the region. So locations that are now potentially impacted by this tornado warning are going to be Salem, Hancock's Bridge, Port Penn, Hope Creek, and Odessa. And of course, there are many other places included in these red boxes, even if we did not mention your area. If you know that you are within these red lines, you need to take cover now. You need to seek shelter immediately. And since they did extend this on over into Salem County, and one other thing I did want to mention here, I'm going to go ahead and clear this out and kind of zoom out so I can show you this. I want to talk about the tornado warning. I just briefly want to mention that this cell in particular that we were watching that did have a tornado warning now has a flash flood warning. And let me go ahead and get some information with you for that flash flood warning. That's going to go on until 2:30 in the morning, because you are going to continue to see the water levels rise. And this is for Chester County. So West Nottingham, you're in that East Nottingham, Hopewell Road, Baltimore Pike. If you usually travel around these areas, most likely this will be done by the time you would travel into the morning hours. However, you might still have some ponding on the roadways, and you might still be dealing with some issues. So I just wanted to briefly mention that, but I do want to get back to this tornado warning. So it looks like they've kind of cleared things up for us a little bit, dropped part of the warning, and then continued it on for the other portion of Newcastle County in one. So this kind of just all looks like one polygon together. So let's go ahead and turn on from our sweeping radar. We want to go back to storm relative mean velocity because, we need to see what is this rotation that they're seeing. And it does look like right around Odessa, I'm seeing this pretty decent shear, which is we have some low-level wind shear that we're dealing with. And when you have some of these elements come together, that's that rotation, right? So that's what we're seeing. And even if we turn on some lightning signatures, maybe we can see if it's pretty active across this area. But that couplet with this new radar scan is now kind of coming back to life and coming back together. We're seeing that. Again, this is going to be tracking east. The latest with this was 15 miles per hour, which was not something that we wanted to see. So I'm going to turn on reflectivity so you can see that heavy rain. You can kind of see almost a little bit of curvature, which is, kind of identifying that you're getting some of that spin, that rotation. But I want to go ahead and zoom out and then track this out for everyone. So we can see, again, I have to change the speed on this. Give me 1 second. Let me clear this out. And I'll change the speed on this since it's slowed down. And perhaps this will give us a few more areas to watch through. So we can keep you informed here. So Lower Alloways Creek, you are one of those areas. This goes until 12:10. I believe that we said that this tornado warning in particular, this one is going until midnight. So, we'll see if that continues, but you're still in that tornado warned area. And again, we have been following these storms as we've been going on here. And in particular, you can kind of see the two areas that we're following here that have the most kind of identifiable characteristics with it. And that would be pretty much this area here, just outside of that flash flood warning, which other areas could see flash flood warnings because of the heavy rainfall. And we were also watching this area in particular with the tornado warning as this cell continues to track east. Again, not liking how the forward motion is slowing down. That only leads me to think that maybe we could see some flash flood warnings if it kind of stays in place, but we'll have to see if that comes to fruition. Right now,